In terms of the Summer Nations, this weekend we have got Scotland versus France, Wales versus England, Ireland versus Italy. Next weekend, England versus Wales. The box play against Wales, and it'll be on. So that'll be part of the Summer Nation series, as well as New Zealand games as well. So there's a whole bunch of games that's going to be part of the Summer Nation series. It's basically the Autumn Nation series, which is what the end of year tour has become, but now in August as a Rugby World Cup warm-up schedule. And the big question is, how can I watch all the action? Right, well, the good news is that, first of all, there are free-to-air broadcasters, and you can watch the entire week or month's coverage live on Amazon Prime with a free trial. However, these are only available for those in the UK or in Ireland. So if you're outside those territories, you can still use the same method I'm about to show you, but you're going to have to use a VPN. Now, we recommend using either ExpressVPN or else Bitdefender over there, which are one of our partners. They've got a very good functional VPN, which works very nicely. And basically what you're going to do, I'm going to show you how to use ExpressVPN. So first things first, you're going to go down into the description below. You're going to download your VPN. I'm going to show you what ExpressVPN looks like. And once you install, it's going to look something like that. You're going to go to these three little dots over here. That's going to bring up a bunch of locations. And you're going to go and select the UK. Once that is available, you're then going to go to I'm going to recommend using Amazon Prime because every single game is on there and you can get a free 30-day trial. So you're then going to go to Amazon Prime, amazon.co.uk, and then press the Prime address there. And because you're connected through the VPN, it basically geolocates your device to make it seem as if you're in the UK. As a result, you can get access to the Prime thing. And there it is, all this. These are all the Autumn Nations games and stuff like that. If I go to Scotland versus France, you'll see they're included with Prime. It goes live tomorrow. The nice thing about Prime is it's got brilliant panels. It's got really good coverage. It's got different languages, for example. And if you scroll over here, you can see there's the Wales versus that game, as well as in Welsh language. We keep going over here. There's just so many various games across the rest of the month, which is going to be really, really cool. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Certain games will be on RTE, which is a free-to-air broadcaster. So we'll be doing specific videos on those games, showing you how to watch. But apart from that, get yourself an Amazon Prime free trial. Get yourself a VPN so you can access it and watch all the action live throughout the rest of the month. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you guys next time. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's preview, England versus Wales, the repeat of last weekend's fixture, where Wales actually finally broke the longest losing streak they'd ever had in history by beating England. But this weekend, it's two brand new teams. It's a new venue as well in Twickenham, and it's still a lot to play for a lot of these players. England naming their World Cup squad earlier this week. And so we're just going to start getting an idea of exactly what sort of Steve Borthwick is trying to cook up. Similarly with Gatland, get an idea of exactly where he's at with regards to, his squad and the players that he's going to really back come basically 4 weeks tomorrow when the World Cup does get underway. So we really are into the sort of the final stretch of matches and preparation before the World Cup does start. So interesting to sort of see your combinations and loose trios, for example, center combinations, halfback pairings, who's going to be who in the zoo when it comes to those teams being named for the actual World Cup, and sort of which players are going to become important and key players for the both coaches who are under a lot of pressure to try and deliver with a short amount of preparation. They're both appointed, within the last 12 months, basically this year, really, and both only had one Six Nations campaign to sort of get this team right. So there's a lot of pressure on both of them to try and sort of do a quick fix. It's a little bit like Eddie Jones as well. But in terms of the teams that have been selected, we'll start with the home side, which is England. As you can see, Owen Farrell does return. He will captain the side after being named as the captain for the World Cup. And very importantly, he will be at 10. After a brilliant Premiership season for the Saracens at 10, he is back in his preferred jersey. I do think he very much looks at himself as an out-and-out 10. I do think it's where he's the best. And it'll be interesting to see who will start at 10 come the World Cup. They haven't named a lot of centres out of England. They did name Owen Farrell as a 10, but we all know he can play inside centre. So that sort of dynamic in itself, I think, will be quite interesting with regards to who's going to be first choice, second choice, 10 going into the World Cup. But in fact, there's no Marcus Smith in the 23 this weekend. So in terms of the starting lineup, Joe Marler, Jamie George, Will Stewart will front up in the front row. Mari Toje returns to the fold, and he will partner George Martin in the locks. The loose trio is Courtney Laws, Ben Earl, Billy Vinipola. Probably a couple of question marks around Laws and Vinipola's fitness levels. Vinipola is always somebody who's sort of sometimes struggled a little bit with his fitness. When he's at his best and his fittest, he's a pretty destructive player. Courtney Laws has not had as much game time for England in the last sort of year that he would like to. But back when he was playing for England, he was probably their most important player, absolutely world class when he plays well. So big game for him. Jack van Portleet will partner Owen Farrell in the halfback pairing. Elliot Daly, Henry Rundle, the two wings. Ollie Lawrence will partner Joe Marchand in the centres. Freddie Stewart at fullback there as well. Off the bench, it's Theo Dan, Ellis Genge, Dan Cole. Johnny Hill, Jack Willis will cover the rest of the scrum. Ben Youngs comes back with all that experience. George Ford and then Matt Malins are the three backline replacements. In terms of your team that Warren Gatland has named, this is it. It's a brand new team. It's a first start for the likes of Tane Plumtree. But in terms of captaincy, Dewey Lake will take the captain's armband, and he will start next to Gareth Thomas and Thomas Francis in the front row. Reece Davies partners Adam Beard in the second row. Adam Beard, for me, I think one of the most important players actually going into the World Cup. Dan Liddon on the back of his sort of resurgence in international rugby gets an opportunity in the sixth. Tommy Turnover, as they call him, rifle in the number 7. Tane Plumtree, son of John Plumtree, will get his first start after getting his first cap for Wales last weekend. It's the Williams halfback pairing, and Thomas Williams and Owen Williams, and they'll go in the 9 and the 9-10. Tom Rogers, Josh Adams, the two wings. Josh Adams will actually be bringing up his 50th appearance for Wales when he takes to the field. Nick Tompkins, Joe Roberts, the centre pairing. Big fan of Nick Tompkins. Very interested to sort of see whether he will be the starting inside centre for the World Cup. Potentially probably next to George North, you'd imagine. Then Liam Williams is back at fullback. Very cool to have the likes of Aaliyah half pairing Liam Williams as your two fullback options. Off the bench, it is Sam Perry, Kemsley Matthias, Dylan Lewis. You think of Christians, Tane Basham, Kieran Hardy, Dan Bigger, and Kieran Williams. So a nice mixture of youth and experience on that bench. It's a pretty good Welsh side. I'm very keen to see how certain of these players go. And for England, I think a lot of people are kind of waiting to see, will we start to see their identity this weekend? Will we start to see the Borthwick way and how he wants them to play? How far away are we potentially from seeing exactly what he wants to do? And how much better can they get before the World Cup? So as I said, it's two teams, two coaches very much in transition periods, trying to get things right in a very short space of time. And it's going to be fascinating to see how that sort of unfolds over the next few weeks. Let me know what your score prediction are down in the comments below. Please do smash the like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon. Right, good evening, hello, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is a Saturday evening, and we have got some live rugby coming your way very shortly. 10 minutes, actually, in fact. And it should be a great game. We've got England versus Wales, two teams in very similar positions with regards to not a lot of time to get a lot right. And two teams who in the last 8 months have got quite a lot wrong as well. And it's two teams who have actually got quite an interesting record against each other. I mean, I think there's about 7 games out of almost like 80 odd games or whatever, the 67 games I think it is, between them. And the head-to-head is actually quite close. I think it's like 7 games that England have won more than Wales after, I think it's like well over 100 games, for example. So it's a pretty cool historic game with regards to that, and not a game which is ever, or a fixture that's particularly one-sided historically. And two very different teams to what we saw last week, and a lot of different players involved. That we sort of be interested to see what their involvement's going to become the World Cup. So, it's two coaches under a bit of pressure to start showing something, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's about these two coaches starting to make people believe that there is a plan. I think is probably the easiest way of putting it, and that come the World Cup, they can both be competitive, which is something that a lot of people are saying that they might that they're not going to be at this stage. So, it's a lot to play for both sides. And I think it should be quite an interesting game. Wales beating England last week, and England now going pretty full strength. Wales just naming a completely different side. So, it should be a really exciting game. Very keen to see exactly how things do go. And, with any luck, we should have an absolute crack on our hands. And we get well entertained. So, kickoff is going to be about 8 minutes time. I'm going to go through the teams in a little bit. And in the meantime, I'd like you guys to go and get your predictions in. in the comments. Go and let us know what your sort of score predictions are. And I'd like you to go and vote in the poll, which is looking pretty close as well. Interestingly, actually favouring Wales after 53 votes. So interesting to see that is currently where people are sort of leaning towards. And I do think that it's a match which playing minutes are so important, and it's going to be a game. It's going to be a situation. I think in 2 weeks' time, where when it comes to these two teams, it's about which coach can get the most right sooner. They've run out of time in many ways to really get themselves firing at all cylinders. So now the question is, can they get themselves firing at sort of some cylinders? And there's no reason why you can't. Both teams have got quality players. I don't think that's really up for debate. It's about whether these players can all come together for their teams at the right times. So yeah, I'm going to go through the teams a little bit. I'm going to look at some of the comments here first and see exactly what you guys have got to say. And let me know where you're watching from. I want some score prediction stuff like that. So most saying I want to go downtown to the park to watch the first half. Albert saying with Farrell and Laws there, this is England's game to lose. Mark says, Steve, thanks for your content. Well, thank you for watching. You reckon England made a mistake changing coach and bringing Borthwick in? Bothers poor dog in at the relatively late stage. I do think that it was the wrong move for them to make. I do think that they have made themselves uncompetitive for the World Cup. Martin's saying, are Wales too fit too early? I think Wales have got a long way to go, to be honest. So he's saying, haven't been live in ages. Massive congrats on heading to France in the next few weeks, bro. This channel's become a long way. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Yeah, very excited to be leaving in, I think, about 30 days odd. James Gatz, how's the campus? James Gatz saying, England had a mare last game. It'll be interesting to see how they perform tonight. Mark's saying, also stoked for you to go into France, so well deserved. Thank you so much. Watching from Netherlands. Right, so the anthems are about to get underway. And then we will have the action. And I would like to see Wales win. I do like Wales. Probably them and Argentina, and Scotland are probably my sort of the teams I really like after the likes of the box. So that's kind of where my allegiances do lie. And hopefully, I'd really like to see Wales sort of stepping up today. In terms of exactly who's going to step up today for either side, this is what they have named. So in terms of our teams, if you go to England, it is Joe Marler, Jamie George, and Will Stewart starting down in the front row. They've got Murray, Toje, and George Martin as the two back second rows. Courtney Laws comes back into the side. He partners Ben Earl and Billy Vinipola. Jack van Portleet will partner Owen Farrell, who comes into the side and captains the side. Elliot Daly, Henry Arundel, the two wings. Ollie Lawrence partners Joe Marchant in the centres. Billy Stewart is ever present really at full back. Off the bench, there's Theo Dan, Ellis Genge, Dan Cole, Johnny Hill, Jack Willis, Ben Youngs, George Ford, Max Malins. Very keen to see what George Ford gets up to when he comes on a bit later. In terms of Wales, it is Gareth Thomas, Dewey Lake, and Thomas Francis. Dewey Lake captaining Wales for the first time. In the second row, it is Rhys Davies and Adam Beard. Dan Lydiot in the number 6. Tommy Turnover, Reffel in the number 7. Tane Plumtree gets his first ever start for Wales, the son of John Plumtree. He made his debut last week and will make his first start today. Thomas Williams will partner Owen Williams in an all-Williams halfback pairing. Tom Rogers, Josh Adams, the two wings. In the centres, Nick Tompkins next to Joe Roberts, Liam Williams at full back. Off the bench, it is Sam Parry, Kevsey Matthias, Dylan Lewis, Kraus Chunza, Tane Basham, Gareth Davies, Dan Bigger, and Kieran Williams. Two interesting sides. Nice players in there. A bit of an inexperience, I think, across both squads as the Welsh anthem gets roared out there by the players. Dewey Lake captaining, a bit of a juggernaut type player. Very keen to see how he gets on today. And Darius van der Vest saying Wales should win if they can carry the momentum from last weekend. And Smiling Joe says, how many caps does the England match day 23 have compared to another Welsh experiment? Quite a few, I suppose. Any team with an Owen Farrell, for example, has a lot of caps by the virtue of the fact he's got over 100. I can tell you exactly what the caps are looking like. The inexperienced players in the England starting lineup are the likes of a George Martin playing just his third game. Ben Earls at 15 caps. Apart from that, Courtney Laws is nearing 100. Believe in Apollo's got over 68. In the front row, Joe Martin, Jamie George, all well over 70 caps there. Jack van Portlee's not particularly experienced with 13 caps, but Owen Farrell 106 caps. Eddie Daly 56. Miranda's also relatively new. So the backline, I suppose, is quite inexperienced in many ways. I mean, it's pretty sure it's your third most cap player with 23, but the pack is very experienced. And a lot of caps coming off the bench, the likes of a George Ford, Ben Youngs, Dan Cole, Ellis Genge, who's making his 50th appearance today. So, yeah, and I suppose, that, in terms of the Wales experiment, it is a bit of experiment, given the fact that they've completely changed their side. He's made every change possible, to be honest. And again, in terms of the experience for Wales, Josh Adams making his 50th appearance today. I think he's the only man actually who's got over 50 caps in the starting lineup. Sorry, Thomas Francis has, and Dan Lydiard will be the more experienced players there. But even Adam Beard, for example, who is one of the most experienced players in the Welsh 15, is not yet a 50 cap player. And Joe Roberts making his debut next to Nick Tompkins, who I really rate actually. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see how this Welsh side goes, and a couple of nice nice opportunities for players to put their hand up. So, Double saying, surely England can't lose with all those Wales changes, but it would be funny. Firing Dave Rennie and Eddie Jones were both dumb decisions. I 100% agree. Same as even the whole Eddie Jones thing. I just don't, and Wayne Pivac, I just don't think you should be firing any coach a year after the World Cup. What's the point? How did you ever think it was going to end well, for example? Martin saying, so I'm sorry, but I can't see Wales winning this, although I'd like them to win. Well, me as well, I suppose. Kind of there as well. I mean, I said England should win this. England are, for me, the favourites, obviously, again, in this game. At home as well. They've got a much better record at home, as you'd imagine. But, I'm a big Wales fan. So, I'm a fan of Wales. Maybe is probably the better way of putting it. So that's where I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see come out on top today. But we'll have to wait and see. 23-year-old Joey Roberts on debut. Big occasion for him. Big moment for him and his family. And we are just about ready for kickoff. So please do smash like and then please do. Nika Amashakeli, one of the, if not the best referee in World Rugby right now, with the whistle in hand. Young referee, brilliant referee. I expect to see him get a World Cup final or two before he does retire. So right, here we go. Wales are playing right to left. England will be receiving kickoff. The whistle goes, and Williams gets us underway as he goes down the left-hand side. It'll be an early touch for Billy Vinipola, who is brought down by Josh Adams with some assistance from Dewey Lake, and I think it's the Adam Beard there. And we're away. And Jack Van Port is going to get a very early opportunity to get that boot going. He's lifting it high in the air. A couple of willing chases going on the right-hand side. Williams doesn't manage to get there. In fact, it bounces surely forward off of Henry Arundel, and that is the case. He's actually stayed down, so that doesn't look good for him at all. Right, Steve Borthwick picture there, big game for him. He's got a lot of pressure, and you got to feel for the guy. He's definitely, we know he's a talented coach, but he just hasn't really had much time. And for me, even with not having much time, has made some really strange decisions. I think as Henry Rundle, though, it's taking a bit longer to get back up than initially expected. So there's a bit of break and play. But I mean, things like, for example, Alex Donbrand playing like almost every single game for England this year and then not making the World Cup squad. You can't sit there thinking, well, what the hell was the point? So there's a couple of weird decisions like that. I suppose it's a bit like Eddie Jones, who played Craig Cooper in almost every game and then just left him out of the World Cup squad altogether. So here's back up is Henry Arundel, the young winger. And we will get play underway with a knock-on. It will be a Wales ball. So it is one of the Williams, Thomas Williams, with ball in hand. Both teams with their names on the back of their shirts, which I don't think will be a feature of the World Cup for any team. I think that's more of a World Rugby decision than a team decision. But an early opportunity here. Wales just inside their own half on the left-hand side. Right, big scrum, yeah, and it's a pretty good hit from Wales. We're going to have a reset here, I think, but it was a nice hit there. The front rows are of Thomas Lake Francis versus Amala, George, and Stewart. Very keen to see how Dewey Lake goes today. This is a bit of just a marauding character, isn't he? He's a juggernaut, I think is probably the good word. He's absolutely huge and loves to have ball in hand and get running. And a penalty, well, a free kick there from England, which I don't think Wales will be overextending there or push without the ball is the issue. So I don't think Wales will be overly upset with that. I think they actually dominated the hit there quite nicely. So they do give away a free kick, but yeah, it's psychological as Owen Farrell lifts it high in the air. Harry Randall is after it. It's pretty deep, and Josh Adams has knocked it forward, and it's been won back. Quick on the ball here, but Vinipola comes back on the angle. Jack from Portley looking for quick ball here. Going to Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell's a bit of space in behind for Henry Randall to run in. Henry Randall's almost going to get there. I tell you what, that is brilliant tracking from Liam Williams. Nice idea from Owen Farrell. Almost coming off, but really good work there from the Welsh fullback to cut him off. And Josh Adams, yeah, not as great as moment there. Just completely getting it wrong under the high ball. Though. Very good pressure being put on him. And then immediately spotting the space in behind Owen Farrell. Nice little deft kick. It was actually the perfect weighting. And I reckon a half a yard more. And Randall would have gotten there. It's really good covering in the end by Liam Williams. He's taken a while to get up here. He's also getting a bit gingerly. Alright, and the restart there from Wales. It comes off of Owen Farrell, who then goes to the left to Freddie Stewart to carry. Very nice carry coming from the Welsh captain, Dewey Lake. Good ball from Portley going to the left-hand side. Courtney Laws back on the side. Back to carrying. Very important player for England going into the World Cup. Owen Farrell going short there to Jamie George. Good Welsh defence. They're getting up nice and quickly. And behind the varnish line. Owen Farrell thinking about the kick. Thinking about the pass. He puts it up. But it's really good. Well read once again by Liam Williams. It pops the offload away. And Nick Tompkins gives it back to Roberts, who hammers it down the left-hand side. And Owen Farrell is retreating. It's a pretty good kick from Owen Farrell. Very, very nice clearance. In fact, he's finally passed the team line from Wales. So that's a perfect clearance from Owen Farrell. Worked out really nicely. The bright start to the game, yeah, as Owen Farrell. A couple of nice deft touches. So for first line for the day for the Welsh captain. Rhys Davies, Adam Beard, and Dan Lydiard, your typical options. Yeah, I reckon Adam Beard will probably be looking to get his hands on this one early on. It is Adam Beard. Courtney Laws does go up to compete and does make it a bit messy, but Dewey Lake does come away with it under a lot of pressure at the breakdown. A couple of Welsh players do get back to help secure that ball. And they saw a carry there coming from Rhys Davies. And now Thomas Williams goes to the back. Oh, shaped kick, and then decided not to. He goes to Owen Williams, who then spots a bit of space down that right-hand side. Puts in there high in the air for Elliot Daly. He's got Owen Farrell next to him. Elliot Daly's got a pretty good boot of himself. So he puts in the air for himself to chase. But it's pretty far. Liam Williams got a bit of time there. He wants to run here. Throws a long pass out wide. Straight to Josh Adams. Not for. Josh Adams got a bit of space in here. Josh Adams kicks it in midfield. And Thomas Williams is there. Randall does come away with it. But Williams is there to put a bit of pressure on him. A couple of Welsh players arriving as well. A lot of pressure at the breakdown. But England do secure it. And Jack from Portland will take his time getting this ball out. He's going to pop it to Billy Vinipola. And Rhys Davies making a good tackle. Needs to roll away though. It's going to slow that ball down a lot. Yeah, good work from the referee there, saying that they're holding him in there. He's desperately trying to get out. So fair enough. No penalty advantage there, which England will try to win there. Importantly, it goes to his boot. I think looking for touch. Will find touch. quite a nice little bright start to the game. Both teams actually look quite switched on here. We haven't had too many mistakes. Kicking battle is obviously going to be quite important here. And both teams have actually kicked quite well early on. And that's the first mistake. They ball over the top from Dewey late. Jamie George comes away with a turnover ball here for England. Owen Farrell, bit of space out wide. Joe Watchalong going to Elliot Daly. Daly stepping inside. Making a few yards. Eventually he gets brought down and inside England territory. And penalty. I mean, I don't know who that was. I don't know what he was thinking. And that's a moment of complete madness from Tane Plumtree, who just dove over the ruck. As conceded the first penalty of the day, actually. Michael saying, Oz made a huge error by firing Rennie. Oz nearly beat France late last year. They're nowhere near where they were last year. I tend to agree. And Sparrow saying, I must say, I'm just very happy that Jacques came out and explained the situation. Rumors about Pollard, and I'm 100% agree with what he was saying. You can't just make a guy fake an injury. Yeah, I just actually put a video out recently about it. But yeah, I think it was very good for them to come out and sort of just quash those rumors. But this is an early opportunity now for England. They're inside the 22. Jamie George runs to the touchline to feed the line out. Big opportunity for early points here. Goes to Mario Toja. Mario Toja goes up. Struggles to come down. And they've lost a bit of momentum though. But legally so. So it's good defence there from Wales. It is available for Portleet. Mario carrying up. Advancing for offside. Then I believe in the Polar. A bit of free roll of the dice here. Oh, it's a big hit on Lawrence. Working hard, trying to get over the varnish line. Good defence so far here from Wales. And George Martin driven back, and Amish Kelly does go to the whistle. Well, Warren Gatland sides are always characterised by strong defence, and I tell you what, we're seeing pretty strong defence here from Wales. A little bit over-ego on that occasion, just coming off the line there and straying offside. Adam Beard wants to have a word with the referee. And the decision time now for Owen Farrell. They are going to take the points. And this is always interesting for me. You know, we're talking about a World Cup warm-up match, really. We're also talking about a test match. So, you know, a test match is a test match, regardless of, you know, people might they're saying this means nothing or whatever. It always means something, doesn't it? You know, it's never, you know, no such thing as a dead rubber when it comes to test matches. So it's always going to be that little bit of debate. Do you take points? What is more important, winning and building momentum, or trying things, or, you know, trying a system, trying to get the ball in play and trying to work on what you're working on the training ground in the actual game. So England decided to take the points here, and I think there's always that balance, isn't there? There's a certain amount of, yes, you want to try and play as much as you can, and stuff like that, but you need to build momentum, and you build momentum by winning games. There's no doubt about that. Eddie Jones spoke about that. He said, you know, at the end of the day, it's about winning games. You know, it's about building confidence, which he hasn't done at all. And there's no doubt that's definitely affecting Australia's chance going into the World Cup. So Owen Farrell here, it's just on the left-hand side. Should be pretty straightforward. He is such a world-class goal kicker and does slot the three pretty early. So after just before 10-minute mark, England do take the lead after a pretty solid start from both sides, it must be said. And Idris Elba there, over there. So a couple of celebs out in the crowd as well, showing their support. All right, the restart for Wales going down the left-hand side. Once again, this will be Venezuela underneath it. Josh Adams is there first, and very happy to marshal him towards the big forwards of Francis and Rhys Davies to make the hit. To be fair, if I was Josh Adams, I don't think I'd be too over-eager to try and make the hit on Billy Vunipola either. Jack from Portleet puts it down the edge, and Liam Williams is there, and Liam Williams juggles it, but eventually brings it down. He is one of the best players in World Rugby under the high ball there, so it's a bit of a strange juggle from him. Uncharacteristic, I think, is the word, but Wales do have possession as Plumtree takes it in. Now deciding to move to the left-hand side. The call coming from Tompkins. Oh, deft hands. Dad decides to step inside. Gets the offloaded way back to Tompkins. Tompkins, a little bit lateral, needs to sort of straighten. His legs are taken from underneath him by Martin. And a bit of pressure there. Good hands there from Rhys Davies, but there was a knock-on in the ruck. And they will go back for a scrum for England. A little bit of indecision there. I think the initial break to go left to lead it was probably the right idea. I don't think Tompkins was really expecting that ball back from him. and just found himself a little bit isolated and a knock on when he went down to ground. Right, so while we're having a bit of a break, if you're looking to watch this game, check out our one of our channel sponsors, Bitdefender. They've got a VPN as part of their premium internet security solutions, and you can go get yourself Amazon Prime on a free 30-day trial, and you'll be able to watch, for example, the South African game next weekend and all the Summer Nations action on Amazon Prime. So go and get yourself that. Also, if you're looking to bet on the match, go and check out World Sports. If you're in South Africa, they've recently launched. They are our official betting partners. We do have our betting guide, Chris, who will be giving you guys weekly bets for you guys to sort of really get involved. So I'm gonna drop a link in the description. But if you haven't already, go and sign up with World Sports, and come and watch our betting show. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff during the rugby, the World Cup, obviously. And a big thank you to them, because it's thanks to our partners like Bitdefender, like World Sports, that we are going to the World Cup, and we're going to be able to really bring you guys some very, very cool coverage. So a big shout out to our partners, World Sports and Bitdefender, and go and check them out. Go and show them support, because the more you support them, the more they support us, the more we can bring to you, the better coverage we can really offer. And I'm now being raided by dogs. Right, scrum here on the halfway line. It is England ball on the right-hand side. They've got a long width of the field to work with. And it is Jack and Portley with ball in hand. As he rolls that back. Pretty good scrum there. Big sharp second cab coming from Wales. They do manage to get it out. Owen Farrell skips it out to go straight to Daly. Daly brings that left boot of his. He's hammered it, in fact. And has it gone too far? It's got over the head of Liam Williams. Just going to marshal. It's going to stop in the in-goal area. And he's happy to just put it down, take out the goal line, drop up. Bit of a strange decision from Daly. It was just completely overcooked. He's got a very big boot, so he does need to work on the control a bit. Hello, Sports Club Pro. Hope you're well. And Easy saying England always take the 3 points no matter who we play. Well, yeah, fair enough. That's it. I think the big thing, to be fair, I do think for both of these sides, wins are far more valuable than probably performances. Going into a World Cup with new squads, with a new coach and stuff, there's always gonna be a lot of doubt about what their chances are. And if you get wins, especially with big opposition, that kind of just builds sort of the faith and belief into both, not even into just the coaches, yourself as well as a team. So the restart there. Oh, a half break there from Jack Portley. Gets the offload away to Jamie George. Quick ball now. Owen Farrell seizing a bit of space. Wants the wraparound. Got straight through the middle. Looking to bring in offload. Brings in Lawrence. And Van Portley has lost it forward. It was a great break there from Owen Farrell. Turnover ball there. And Wales looking to try and run it from the inside the own 22. Long ball over the top towards Josh Adams, who gets hammered by Henry Randall and out. So, yeah, nice idea from Wales to try and run outside the own 22. Probably not the right one, really. Just ran out of space there. I think that ball over the top but this is a great little break from Portley. Good follow-up play, and then boom. Owen Farrell, seeing the space being left behind by Adam Beard, gets the ball inside to Ollie Lawrence, and then just that ball back inside to Jack from Portley, just not able to hold on to it. But that's a bit of a warning sign. I tell you what, Owen Farrell, I was saying that after the back of his Premiership season, that number 10 jersey, he'll be eyeing it out, and the way he started today looks like a man who wants us to really just take a claim for it. Right, so far 68% possession for England. Wales have had to do a lot of defending. They defended pretty well apart from that last pasture play. So I think that was probably the first real big warning signs that England can sort of breach this Welsh defence. Because so far on the line they've been pretty good. Not that England have really kept ball in hand too much. They have looked to go to the boot quite a lot early on here. So it isn't a scrum for Wales. In fact, so there's no advantage there. So they're going to go back to the 22. Looks like a pretty big shove there as well. Ball's come off to the side. And in fact, I'll tell you what. Roberts had to, in fact, he knocked it on, or I think Nick Tompkins has eventually gotten it down. It was almost heart and mouth stuff there. The ball just squirting out the side there, and yeah, I mean, I think it was restful. He couldn't really bring it in, and England were all over them, and I'll tell you what, different bounce of the ball. England could have actually scored here. There's Ben Earl here. He's just all over, and Joe Roberts there diving on the ball, couldn't quite gather it. Ball came back off him, and then Nick Tompkins. Eventually, the one that gets it down. So we're looking now to see if it was carried back here. Now it will be a goal line dropout. So Williams hammers us down the middle of the pocket. It's the third goal line dropout we've had actually this match. Now Freddie Stewart wants to run himself. Oh, that's a big tackle coming from Dewey Lake, and they've lost the ball in the process. And Plumtree, Tame Plumtree. No ways would this be. This would be. I think he's. I don't know if he's actually managed to. Tame Plumtree has just grabbed the ball and he nailed it 50-22, I think. I mean, bang, Dewey Lake makes the tackle, loses the ball forward. Tame Plumtree picks it up and goes, thank you very much. We'll have a 50-22. That is absolutely brilliant from the number 8. Goodness me. All of a sudden, Wales on the inside of 22. Adam Beard taking the ball down. Wales looking to set up a rolling more here. Right up against the touchline here. So Williams will be thinking about using this, Thomas Williams. But Dewey Lake still has the ball in hand here. Penalty advantage as well here for Wales. So the penalty does come. I mean, I'll be able to probably just kick to the corner and have another go here. Right, so they have chipped to the corner here, and Dewey Lake will look to set up a running more at 5 meters out. So, big opportunity this for Wales. Still no try scored in the first 17 and a half minutes, but this is the first real big opportunity here for Wales. Rhys Davies this time. More taking a while to get set. They're taking a meter or two. They've called in the backline players. Nick Tompkins is coming. The ball's gone straight down. The question is it going to be able to recycle the ball? And no, they're not. And it's going to be turned over. Just very strange decision to have brought in the players so quickly. The ball didn't look particularly well set anyway. And it's gone down. And then once it went down, it was always going to be tough to try and get that ball out. Well, it will be turnover ball. It's a big opportunity I'm missing for Wales. And just kind of thought it was a bit unnecessary. Izzy Ollie's saying it's important for Earl to have a good game with Willis and Curry around. Big Billy just needs to slowly improve fitness. That's always the thing, isn't it, with Billy Vunipola? We know the class of Billy Vunipola. It's the fitness, isn't it? It's whether he's, in his... Whether he's, he's a bit lighter, he's a bit faster, a little bit mobile around the park is when he's at his best. Nobody doubts his destructiveness. But if you can only do that for 20, 25 minutes, there's not much point, is there? Little ref cam here. Quite enjoy that. Giving us a point of view of the scrum. Jack from Portfleet is got the hands on ball here. So far, I think Wales have definitely had the upper hand with regards to the shove. They've yet to really be rewarded by it. But they've definitely seemed at this stage to have the edge on England from a dominance point of view. And once again, it's a free kick to England, though. So that's 2 free kicks given away by Wales. Dewey Lake wants to have a conversation. He's not particularly happy with the calls that are happening here. And it's against Gareth Thomas, who's not impressed either. So Owen Farrell, though, will have an opportunity to clear the lines here. It is just a free kick, so it'll be a Wales line if he does find touch. They do take it quickly, though. Liam Williams fires it out to Tompkins. Bit of space on the left-hand side here. Joe Roberts with his first carry, a decent carry as well. O'Lawrence trying to put a bit of pressure at the breakdown, but enough Welsh players arrive. Williams short. Jamie George, Courtney Laws making the tackle. Now Owen Williams. Good hands there. And Thomas Francis locked it on forward. And Courtney Laws pops it up to Elliot Daly, who hammers it back towards Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell shapes to his kick, then decides to go himself. But it's a good tackle coming from Thomas Williams. Should be advantage over just about there. Jack from Portley going to Courtney Laws. Just inside the 10 meter line on the left hand side of the park there. And there's a good effort over the ball there from Tommy Riffle, but no advantage, so it will be a scrum. Plays his rugby in England. That's Tommy Riffle. South Africa's got a bit of an introduction to him last year. We sort of started to earn the nickname Tommy Turnover. Well, it's 20 minutes in. What do we think, people? What are we saying so far after that first 20 minutes? I think both teams have looked quite a lot sharper. A couple of nice individuals already sort of standing up there. Maybe the last 5 minutes were a little bit more sloppy. A couple of mistakes for Wales, but overall, it's felt like a test match so far with a reasonable amount of intensity. Probably likes a bit more ball in hand as the match goes, and maybe a few stoppages. Having a couple of knock-ons, quite a few scrums so far, and the scrums have been pretty messy. Well, this is pretty solid. Believe it or Polar popping up to Jack from Portley, who wants to go himself, brings in Ollie Lawrence, who's twisting in the tackle. Nick Tompkins actually has ripped it in the tackle. The ball's then being kicked ahead, and Joe Roberts got a bit of a foot race here. He does manage to win it and come away with the ball, and the whistle has gone. And I assume it was a knock-on back towards the halfway line when the rip of the tackle from Nick Tompkins. Yeah, not as polished as we'd like to see. It was a nice idea from Jack and Portley to really try and link up with Ollie Lawrence, but as I said, the Welsh defence so far has been pretty switched on, apart from one or two breaks there. Now looking at Richard Wigglesworth, it's very New England coaching staff, so it'll take a while for them to really sort of, I suppose, really get the team firing on all cylinders and to exact the plan they want to. Easy Ollie saying Billy V and Laws are the only two players who can be trusted to physically dominate the South for All Black players statistically. Both are integral. Yeah, 100%. I think those are two of the most important players for England if they want to try and compete with the bigger packs in the World Cup. Even France, for example, who've just got absolute giants. Nick Tompkins has been quite busy so far early on. I rate him. I think he could, for me, probably will be the starting inside centre in the World Cup. Probably have George North outside him. Had a very good domestic season. Really has been putting his hand up. And it's gone down once again on the same side. This time, however, Wales do get the penalty. Gareth Thomas, a bit of a begrudging look towards the touchline ref. He's been quite frustrated at the fact that he's been, hasn't been penalised yet, but 2 free kicks against him, so I suppose he has been penalised. So now finally getting the penalty on his side. And Adam Jones in the crowd. Pretty decent kick there. They've gained 26.3 meters. I really enjoy the fact that they get those stats in the Summer Nation, Autumn Nations here as well. So Wales now progressing further up the park. They really haven't had a lot of opportunity and kind of, I won't say butchered, but really didn't use that one chance they did get very well. So an opportunity now for Dule to get a side back on the front foot. First things first, got to get in the line, which they've not won the line. It's the second line they have lost. Jamie George is enjoying life at the back of the Welsh line. That's the second time he's come away with it. And now Van Portleed. Let's get straight into the touch. So after saying that initially it started quite well and the intensity wasn't bad, it's kind of regressed in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Quite a few errors creeping in. Yeah, that's a big error though first it was a big error from Dewey Lake. Now it's a big error there from Jack from Portley. So no harm done really for Wales, but Dewey Lake needs to get this right. That's the second line he has lost. Ricky Lowe saying, I have a feeling that Wales will be very competitive this World Cup. They look super fit. Grant Swart saying, Nick Tompkins is the most confusing player. I have no idea if he's international quality or not. Not a bad shot, eh? When he plays well, he looks unbeatable. But he does kind of have that average game in him, doesn't he? Right, Williams going pretty short to Nick Tompkins. He's a little bit upright in the carry, but making a meter or two. Oh dear, and that's horrible from Tane Plumtree, who's just knocked it forward terribly under no pressure whatsoever. And then a penalty, I think, for offside. So he's got an impressive jawline, and he had a nice 50-22, but a couple of poor moments there, and yeah, just take. I was so busy trying to look for the offload back, he actually didn't even complete the catch itself. Bit of a misnomer, really, isn't the young Tame Plumtree? Not a lot known really about him, I think, by too many teams. 23 years old, plays for Scarlets. Obviously, born and raised in New Zealand, the son of now Sharks coach John Plumtree. In just his second game for Wales, first start. Looked pretty good for Tommy Reffel, but England on the front foot just outside the 22. Billy Vunipola, good tackle on him. Not on the right hand side. It's a really good offload. Courtney Lawes almost through a gap, and I tell you, Tommy Reffel is down the floor and not looking. I think it could be Dewey Lake actually. He's down, and the knock on there. This doesn't look particularly good. He's gotten up very, very gingerly as the Welsh captain. A couple of knock-ons here, trying to decide whose ball it is, but more importantly, especially when it comes to these games, it's about injuries, isn't it? It's all it's Ollie Lawrence there who knocks it on first. When it comes to injuries, this is the problem. You know, you're now less than 4 weeks away from the first World Cup gash. That was actually 4 weeks yesterday. So 4 weeks today, I think England are actually playing. I think Wales play on the Sunday, if they do play. The Springboks actually start their tournament 4 weeks tomorrow. So 26 minutes, Borthwick Watchalong. It's a good thing he doesn't have any hair because I don't think he would have any after the World Cup. But it's an interesting situation to be in, isn't it? A year ago, you're pretty accustomed, well, you're pretty settled with the fact that you'll be watching England on TV, but you're worrying about coaching your domestic side. Within that time, you've suddenly been thrown the job, which everybody wanted you to get, but probably didn't expect you to get now. And you've been told you basically got 6 months to try and get an English side which have been pretty substandard post the World Cup to being very competitive in the World Cup, and they've got a very favourable draw, so there's no reason with a good campaign they could go pretty far. Warren Gatland with a similar job really, although Wales did beat South Africa last year, had a couple of decent games. I don't think Wayne Pivac was on a mission to nothing, on a hiding to nothing really. And I don't think Warren Gatland necessarily guarantees you success, but he is a very good tactician. So he is a type of coach that can take a group of players and basically say, right, we don't have a lot of time, therefore we're going to play like this and we're going to be competitive. It's why they liked him as the British and Irish Lions coach, because he can, put together a team relatively quickly and sort of get them running and operating at a decent level. Although people will disagree with that, some people are saying he shouldn't have been coaching the British and Irish Lions. I think he did a reasonable job actually in that 2021 series. I think the South Africans just did wake up and play pretty well. But Dewey Lake's going to go off here, so this is a very big blow for Wales. They've already lost Ken Owens for the World Cup, so he looks very disappointed. Hopefully this will be nothing too serious. Maybe that's the thinking of him coming off. One of those things, this is a World Cup final, maybe he continues. But with the way he looks, he does look absolutely gutted. Everybody's sort of saying cheers to him, so hopefully for his sake it's not too bad. As I said, they've already lost Ken Owens, so not a lot of depth there at hooker. And but he's walking off, which is a positive. Limping off, but walking off nevertheless. Pity, I was really looking forward to watching him. And his replacement, Sam Parry, makes his way on, so he'll have a much longer game to play than expected. And now Welsh fans will have a long and nerdy wait before they see exactly. He's going to go straight to the bench, which is interesting. But Sam Parry is a very experienced operator. He's 31 years old. And not very experienced internationally. He's playing just a sixth game. But he has been around the block quite a lot. And he will be packing down the scrum for his first involvement of the game. Right, so after 216 votes, by the way, people were still backing Wales to get the job done with 53% of the votes. Draw getting 1% and England getting 44%. Off the back of that scrum, Wales going deep. Henry Rundle underneath it. He then returns the favour right up and goes to Williams. Owen Williams, that is. Who goes down the centre of the park this time. Just outside 22, though. Now Stewart's going to kick and chase himself. And that's a brilliant take from Thomas Williams. The little scrum off, getting himself into a brilliant position to win possession back inside their own territory from Wales. Nick Tompkins in at scrum off. fires it out. It's a pretty good carry as well. And then Williams back to Williams. And Williams puts it in the air. And it's right up against the touchline. It does stay in, and it does do well to catch it and get it away from a couple of defenders. Gives it away to Jamie George. Dan Lidder getting across to make the tackle. Making a few meters there was Jamie George. A couple of slip tackles. Pretty poor defense there from Wales. Now ref coming out nice and quickly. Van Portley trying to fall over a couple of players and win a penalty. But Owen Farrell's not too much on, so he's going to put this in the air. Puts it spiraling in as Randall's going to chase hard into Liam Williams, who does take it well. And thrown to the ground. And Courtney Law's trying to get on top, but Williams did well to get away from the tackler. And Courtney Law's had to complete the tackle rather than get into the position to jackal the ball. A couple of phases now for Wales, just trying to create a better angle there for either of the Williams, whether it's Thomas or if it goes back to Owen. It looks like it will be Thomas Williams at the back of the ruck. No, in fact, it does go to Owen Williams, who sees a bit of space, but decides to put in the air. I think it was actually charged down, and then it comes forwards to Ollie Lawrence. Joe Roberts makes the tackle. All of a sudden, England shuts out the 22. Good hands. And just going out there. Nice idea from Joe Marchant. Not the best pass out towards Elliot Daly. He's been quite busy, but yet to have really sort of space for him to really sort of get those shoes going. Had probably about one carry with a bit of space. Yeah, I'm just going inside. I think they're probably actually the option here. You can see very disappointed fans there. Yeah, so as I said, the game which started nicely has it doesn't look good to do legs for ice pack strapped to it's actually his calf or his shin really, which is strapped up there. So we have to wait and see exactly what it is. Yes, hello dog. Hello dog. So it's gonna be a scrum here, another handling area there. We're gonna check the handling areas at half time. There'll be quite a few of them, I'm sure. Let's actually have a look at a bit of a stat attack, shall we? So look at the stats here. Over here, penalty conceded, 3 from Wales, 2 from England. No yellow card so far. No tries, no conversions. But in terms of possession, and apparently Wales are actually ahead, which surprised me because England were ahead. But I think Wales actually have, to be fair, had a lot more possession. They've just gotten a free kick off that scrum, so getting a lot more reward now. Wales, however, having lost 2 lineouts and having lost 1 scrum, England have been flawless come the set pieces so far. Now Wales has just hammered that deep, and Owen Farrell's going to decide what to do here. He lifts it high in the air, and Daly is after this. Pretty good take there from Williams. Now Thomas Williams with namesake. Moves towards the left-hand side. Liam Williams is back in the pocket. It does go to Liam Williams. And he just puts it into the air down the left-hand side. They're going to try and pepper Henry Randall. Get a lot of players up there. The ball does go loose and falls away to Ollie Lawrence. Sorry, it's Marchant rather, who actually steps away. Oh dear. And I think there's that Van Portley who's gone down, clutching his ankle. It is indeed. So England currently operating without a scrum off. And looking like in a lot of pain. Jamie George comes back on the angle. Still no scrum off here, so Joe Marchant is coming into there, and it goes to Farrell. Farrell sees a bit of space on that right-hand side, which he wants to try and exploit. Williams gets across and decides to mark it, but then takes it quickly, and very, very intelligent from Liam Williams. And telling him to go away in the politest terms there. That's a very intelligent play, though, from Liam Williams. He caught the mark, tapped it, and went quickly, and he's actually conceded the yellow card there. Is Henry Randall. That's been bought, actually, I'd say, by the cleverness of Liam Williams. So very, very well worked. Yeah, completely offside, cynical play. Well, no retreat whatsoever. So it's just we used to call it a professional foul, isn't it? And all of a sudden, England down to 14 men with Henry Randall in the bin. But more importantly for them, Jack Van Portley is down and still down, receiving treatment. So they'll be a bit worried about this. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, we talked about, the issues with warm-up games and injuries. He is going to go off. So Ben Youngs, England's most capped player of all time, is going to come to the park. And Van Poortlied is you can't even put any pressure on that ankle. So that doesn't look good at all. And we've already seen two pretty important players for either team being escorted off. Borthwick's made the trip down to console him, but that doesn't look good at all. Ben Young's onto the park, and it's an interesting player, Ben Young. So he's a world-class player on his day. He really is. You don't play 122 games for England by accident, but he's a player a lot of people have really been asking England to move on from. So I'll be interested to know what everybody thinks about him. Whether they are still on the Ben Young's train, or whether they think that train has left the station. Wales, by the way, from the penalty. Looked like a pretty good kick there coming. And they'll be pretty deep inside England territory. I'll tell you one thing about Ben Youngs, though, is that he's very experienced, therefore very much knows how to manage a game. Easy Ollie saying, England are crap, wish we had gone from one coach, just makes us fun team like we did with Bazball in the cricket. Just go and get like a ex-Cheetahs coach, like a Harvey's free. Go and get like Jimmy Stonos from South Africa. Just play just shits and gigs rugby. Pretty good early more this though from Wales, looking a lot better. Thomas Williams looking to break down the right-hand side. Goes to Nick Tompkins. Nick Tompkins gets away from one. Then he decides to fire out to Williams. Williams skips past out towards Liam Williams. Bit of space out wide here. Well, we haven't seen Tom Rogers at all. That's his first carry of the day, in fact. Penalty advantage here for Wales as well. They go to Tommy Reffel. He pops it up off the base. And Rogers, I tell you what, he hasn't any carries now. He's had two in as many minutes. Adam Beer putting his head down. Tompkins, inside ball to Roberts, well read. Clean ball available for Thomas Williams, and he's fumbled it at the ruck, so they're going to go back for the penalty. Much better momentum they're coming from Wales, and they really sort of just hit home this one-man advantage. Tom Rogers. Not the worst little cameo from Tom Rogers. We've seen next to nothing from him so far this game. So good for him to get involved there. They popped out to the corner, and that was a much better rolling more. They can get that kind of momentum. Then chances on you. I think the big thing, obviously, no Henry Randall, is that just draw as many players in as possible, and then when you do go wide, try to make that overlap count. So we'll be the first line of the day for Parry here. Directly Adam Beard. Now they've got to restage to the front. Looking for the more here. Oh dear, and somebody's come out, and he looks like in a lot of pain. There's Garrett Thomas. He goes back in, and more sort of break it towards the left-hand side. Getting a bit of momentum. They've broken away from quite a few players here. And turnover ball once again. Wales really need to work on getting this ball out. It was looking a bit messy, and once it fractured, they really need to try and get that ball out. And it's Ben Earl who comes out smiling and laughing with the ball. Spine saying the best poem I've seen was Sam Burch and Adrian Morley. What's your thoughts? Well, you're never going to deny that those two are great players, are you? I'm trying to think of who probably Robinson. Growing up watching that guy play rugby was so much fun. Unbelievable player. Yeah, it's probably sort of my stand-up player when I was growing up. Wilkinson was obviously a lot of fun to watch. I didn't really have favorite England players, did I? Oh dear, Johnny Hill, by the way, being readied. This could be the third replacement of the half. So, as I said, in terms of Rugby World Cup warm-ups and getting, I think he's been told to go sit down, which is probably a good thing. And Garrett Thomas receiving treatment as well. So, as I said, this is the problem when it comes to warm-up games, that you can't not play players. You can't play it at a low intensity But injuries are a part of the game and can become a big part of the game in these sort of games. Right, so scrum, yeah. Ben Youngs will has ball in hand. Do. Do. Right, so eventually we're going to have a scrum, yeah? And it's a pretty big scrum. And yeah, Bart says much better scrum from England. And they celebrate. They got the penalty. But once again, the man who's celebrating quite extravagantly. But a big reward there. Thomas France can't believe it. He's not happy at all. It's all going to be quite an interesting scrum battle. 4 minutes to go. England getting a penalty with a man down. Not driving straight is what the penalty was for. Right, now England. Pretty good kick actually for that. Right, Corey Laws goes up, comes down with it. What can England cook up? Just a 3-point game so far. Been a bit sloppy in the last 20 minutes, really. But it's very good, more defense from Wales. Jamie George has managed to spin away from the touchline. Ben Earl carrying up, making a yard or two. Ben Young's popping out to Billy Vinipola, who's driven back. Good defense there. I think it was Lydiat and Adam Beard making a tackle there. Right, Ben Young's going to go to the boot. Put that into the sky for a tester here for Rogers. Great take from the really, really good take from him. Well, sure, sneaky. They tried to go down the blind side. They got hammered by, I think, Mario Tojo was Thomas Williams. But now penalty advantage. I think it was offside. Rogers decides to pick up and go to the young wing. Billy Vinipola is allowed to play that. I thought there was a penalty advantage, but now it's been a penalty for England for holding on. Before the referee put his arm in the air. I'm a bit confused about what the advantage was for. Oh dear, now Corey Lord's receiving treatment. Yeah, so he puts his arm out. And literally within 2 seconds later, he then allows it. Did he forget about the penalty advantage? Did he just decide it wasn't a penalty advantage? What's the chat there? What was the chat? I don't understand that. I'm very confused. Holding on is, I mean, that's bizarre. And I see this is Steve Kurtz when I go and say that this is my favorite referee. He goes and makes it something like an instant like that, where he very clearly said penalty advantage for Wales. Put his arm out for a while as well. It wasn't like it was a quick thing, and then immediately allowed England to win a penalty for holding on. All very, very strange. Right, now England inside the 22. Can they create something for half time? Less than 90 seconds on the clock for the first half. Looking to try and get a rolling ball going. It's collapsed, but the ball's still going. But the front foot now got a penalty advantage as well. Ben Youngs takes it and throws it out to Joe Martin, who pops it up to Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell steps inside of Roberts and eventually loses the ball. Backwards to the call, goes back to Jamie George. Josh Adams gets over the ball and is allowed to play it, so no advantage. They'll go back for the penalty and they'll be able to get themselves even closer to the line. Yes, had a dog. Right, so here we go. Jamie George with 30 seconds to go on the 5-meter line. 3 visits to 22 from England, 2 from Wales. So England operating at 1 point per visit, Wales operating at 9. Wales has spent more time though in the 22 than England have, with a minute and a half. England has spent just the sole minute. It's a really good initial hit there from Wales. As Jamie George is driven back, he brings it back towards Ben Earl. Gives to Youngs. Youngs goes to Ollie Lawrence. Pick up and goes well from Ben Earl. Now Courtney Laws runs into a red wall of defence. And Ben Youngs, George Martin. This is good momentum here from England. Now Farrell stands back inside to, I think it's Ollie Lawrence. Penalty advantage here. Pretty bit of Polar. Sorry, I think it was Will Stewart actually on a run there. Owen Farrell, but he's Stewart. Right up against the touchline. It does go out, so they'll go back for the penalty advantage. Question is, who's the Wales captain now? Adam Beard. Yeah, makes sense. Next one is in the bin. Fatacto off the ball there. So what Amateur Kelly is saying. Right, cool here for Owen Farrell. He's going to take the points here. It is right up against the half, so I think they'll say that we've tried. We've been unsuccessful in trying to get a 5-pointer. We'll take the 3 and go in with a 6-point lead. Not the worst idea, really. A bit of a sloppy half in the end. A couple of reasonable moments from both teams as Alan Walters runs on. Former strength and conditioning coach for the Box. Won the World Cup with the Box in 2019. And it's right in front of the pole, so this should be pretty straightforward. I think he was tired, Jared Farrell. Come on, mate. And eventually, as the clock goes down to final few seconds, he does trip it over. And England will go into the half with a 6-point advantage. A man down, but 6 points, which is the main thing. A scrappy half, and hopefully a second half we'll see a little bit more from both teams. Just be a bit more clinical and hopefully a lot more points being scored. So we'll see you then. Right, and we are back. It is the second half coming up in a few seconds. Owen Farrell with hands on the ball. England playing this half right to left, and a game that started pretty well, promised a lot, and then kind of fed into a bit of nothing. A bit sloppy for both sides, and I think both sides will need to sort of tighten things up quite a lot. It'll be interesting to see what the halftime chat will be, and the restart is underway as Plumtree comes away with it. England are still down to 40 men, and Henry Randall in the bin at the moment, and Wales at the moment scoreless, despite having the most time actually in the 22 in that first half. Well, before that last more, which resulted in the penalty, which resulted in the extra 3 points. So at the moment, all the points of the game coming off the boot of Owen Farrell. As Freddie Stewart carries in, and looks like a pretty good turn. No, ball is still available there. A couple of injuries though. So Dewey Lake has made way, and Parry has had to come on for him. And now a penalty for England, and it looks like Amishke is actually going to go to the bin immediately. And Tommy Rafael has going to go to the bin. That's interesting. Just as Henry Rundle is back on, and so you're going to move one from England and add to Wales. So Amish Kelly did say before half time, he said this is your last warning anymore, and you will be in the bin. So it almost feels a bit harsh, really, with the first involvement of the half. Hands beyond the ball is the call. And Tommy Turnover Rafael will have to spend the first 10 minutes of the second half in the bin. And now Wales will start the second half with 14 men. And Warren Gatland is going to... I'm not going to be very impressed with that. You would have had a whole halftime talk about exactly what the plan was and stuff like that. Then you come out and the first thing you do is get a yellow card. And you go down to 14. And all of a sudden you've got to try and adjust. As Owen Farrell lines up his third kick of the match, which is looking pretty good. And we'll go straight over the poll. So England will extend their lead up to 9 points, as well as have a one-man advantage after having been down to one man. So in fact, while they were down to 2 men, down to 14 men, they actually scored 6 points, technically, because Randall was actually not back on at this stage. So very well managed from England's point of view. From Wales, a bit of a nightmare, really, to have had the opportunity and not really been able to take it at all. Right, Wales decided to go short this time. And they do trust it back. They do win it back with the kickoff. It's a very good kickoff. Williams throws it out to Roberts. Roberts is looking for a couple of options. Decides to put his head down, go down the right-hand side. Makes a few yards up towards 22. Really good restart this from Wales. Flat there from Williams. Over the advantage line. Pick up and go there from Plumtree's lost the ball backwards. And turnover ball. And now it's turnover again once again. It eventually falls back to Tompkins. But 2 knock-ons there. The first coming from Plumtree, who's almost just trying to overdo things, I think, at the moment. I think that's probably the best way I could describe it. Looking to try and get involved and try and up the ante. But, just a couple of sloppy mistakes there from the number young one. It just need to, for me, I think just need to calm down a little bit. And sort of identify when and when not to try and up the ante. So, right, Joe Roberts, former Wales under-19 captain. All these players playing for their spot in the Rugby World Cup, which has not been, the squad, which has not been announced yet by Warren Gatland. England's was announced earlier this week. In fact, it's a high tackle on Roberts and should be a penalty. But that was missed by the officials, so it'll be a scrum for England. And a penalty for Wales. And Williams thought about taking it quickly and was nowhere near the mark. Right, so decision time there for Wales. They've gone to the corner most of the time and never really been able to get anything out of it. So maybe potentially take the 3 points. Does look like he is going to get his tee. Yeah, Williams called for his tee, and they will take the 3 points here. It's probably about right. They've been going to the corner all day, and it's just put to no reward. And you've got to try and get some points on the board eventually. So I think Adam Beard has now stepped in and said, right, let's get our game going. Get kicking tee out. Get us some points to the board. And especially with a man down, let's try and manage things a little bit. Williams will have his first kick of the match. Towards the right hand side, should we have no issue with this really. Well within the shot clock. And it's hit the posts and over. Wow, a bit of a hot mouth moment there for Williams, but the main thing is it did go over eventually, so Wales are on the board. They bring that advantage back down to 6 points, and yeah, we're going down to 40 men, getting your first points to the board. Not the worst result. Warren Gatton has a bit of a steely expression on his face as he watches on. Don't think he expected to be back in charge of Wales this quickly. Now, high restart there from England. Joe Marchand trying to get into a good position to contest for the ball. Plumtree's actually lost it forward. Marchand's come away with it down the outside. And Perry's eventually had to come across and make the tackle, bundling him out into touch. So there was almost a dreadful restart there from Wales. Joe Marchand really looking good. And once again, it's another mistake, though, for the young Plumtree, who got himself into a dreadful position, then just sort of threw his hands up. Was never in a position to catch it, really. So just struggling a little bit here as the youngster so far. Just needs to go back to basics sometimes. And Courtney Law's gone in and he's turned it over. So another dreadful line out there from Wales. Definitely becoming a bit of an issue for them, the set piece. It's a turnover ball. Ball is out there apparently, and Wales are quick to it. There's a knock-on advantage as well. And they will turn the ball over, so they're getting to go away with that one. No, they get a penalty for hands on the ground as well. So, and Plumtree, who's not a particularly good game, is now limping at the back, and wouldn't be surprised if he does get replaced, given the struggles that he has had so far. And Hamishke asked them to speed up play here. They're trying to find out exactly what's happening with Tame Plumtree, who's down, and I think has done a wrist here from the looks of it. And he seems to be limping, and I think that's the end of his game. Yeah, so Tame Plumtree will go off. Or Tompkins has just thrown that back pretty nonchalantly. And Garrett Thomas come away with it. More to the point, Wales have actually won the line out. Roberts putting his head down. Good carry from him. Now Wales building from deep inside their own half. Now Williams passing into space on the left-hand side. Wants to change things. Williams came back on the angle. A defender or two. And Ollie Lawrence has done brilliantly to turn that ball over. A bit of a strange change of direction from England. All of a sudden, Murray Toad's come away with it. Don't think we've seen him with ball in hand today. Ben Young's looking for quick ball to Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell to Daly. Sees half a gap. Good tackle coming from Dan Lydiot. Now Youngs fires it out to George Martin. And it's the first touch of the day for Tane Basham, who's come on for Plumtree. One table, oh dear, that's a horrible moment from Owen Farrell. He's trying to fire it out wide. And the ball just slipping out of his fingers as he did try that. A wry smile on his face. Josh Adams, former British and Irish Lions teammates, having a laugh with him. But yeah, so 110 for another. Basham has replaced Plumtree. Yeah, just trying to get that fire that pass away. The ball wasn't really settled in his hands yet. Right, well, Wales are now unloading the bench here. That comes across Chunza, as well as the two props, Kemsey Matthias and Dylan Lewis. And Williams is making his way off as well. So I want to imagine that Dan Bigger is taken to the field. There's a lot of changes being made there. Reece Davies as well. Yeah, so Reece Davies off for Christ Chiunza. Dan Bigger on for Owen Williams. So I'm trying to work out just Gareth Davies and Kieran Williams who haven't come on yet. So yeah, I mean 6 out of the 8 bench players have been emptied by Warren Gatland for England. Borthwick has only deployed Youngs, and that was an injury-enforced replacement. So nothing tactical yet coming from England. Dan Bigger was captaining the side a year ago against South Africa. And I'll change the jersey here for Ben Earl. Right, so Ben Earl, a bit of a shirt change there for him before he goes and rejoins the scrum for what will be a scrum on the left-hand side for Wales. We've got about half an hour left to play. Reminder, we will be live for France versus Scotland. That will get us underway pretty much immediately after this game. In fact, there'll be about like a half an hour break, I suppose. So do come and join us for that game. Should be really cool. I'm all in on Scotland. I'm even wearing my blue shirt for them. Well, it does say France, I suppose. And the scrum's gone down. First scrum with the new Welsh front row. And it will be a reset. Right, come on, guys. Let's get a bit of momentum going here. I want to see some nice rugby. We've seen some very scrappy match. Looks very pre-season-ish, which it is, I suppose. But we're talking like pre-season, like there's a World Cup in this in 4 weeks, not just the random domestic season. It's gone down once again. Penalty for Wales. So the new front row doing the business. Number 3 losing the bind is the call. So it's against Will Stewart. He's not very impressed. And Dan Bigger's first touch of the ball will be to try and find touch further down the field and get Wales on the front foot. It's not a full trick in him. It's not a back crowd in though, from the looks of it. And he doesn't find touch, says Dan Bigger. That's not a particularly good start to proceeding for him. And see another go to go to the boot. This time he's going to go into the sky. Freddie Stewart is coming onto it and takes it very, very well. And now a bit of space if Owen Farrell, they want to use it. Steps inside it as Ben Earl. Will Stewart, nice little handle to Maury Tojo, who breaks the line. Now change of direction here. Owen Farrell fires it out towards Ben Earl. He doesn't have a number on his back of his shirt at the moment. And he makes a good few yards. Ben Youngs to Daly at first receiver. Now Vitapola. Good tackle that from Lydiot. Now not too much on. So he puts into that spar into the air now. A lot of chase there. Courtney Laws up against touchline as well. It's Henry Rundle. The ball does bounce. Backwards is the call. Pretty sure that ball's out. And Joe Marchant goes to Marla. Marla shows and goes. Now Daly looking to wrap around, going to Marchant. There's an overlap. He decides to go himself. It's Ollie Lawrence. Ollie Lawrence bursts through the middle. He's eventually brought down by Rogers. Now Owen Farrell, they've got numbers. Pops it to Daly. Daly gets to the inside. Good tackle there coming from Roberts. Big carry now for Courtney Laws. England really on the front foot here. Now Jimmy George. It's carried pretty well so far. Now Mario Toje over the front foot. Penalty for Wales. Right, well, who is the man that will be celebrating? It seems to be Liam Williams. Surely or not, of all players who's gone over that ball. It looks like it is Liam Williams. Big carry that from Ollie Lawrence. Desperate tackle coming from Roberts. And now Owen Dan Bigger. This time we'll really need to find touch. It's a big mistake from Maria. So Wales hanging on you. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. He does find touch. Make sure of it this time, does Dan Bigger. Right, and Tommy Rappel does return, so no damage really done from the scoreboard point of view during that yellow card. In fact, Wales have actually gotten points on the board since. Right, so 15 on 15, and Wales once again lose another line. I believe in Napola, giving it back to Ben Earl up towards the halfway line. Wales it's really been a big issue for them so far as the line. Now, Owenfeld once again, long pass out wide towards Daly. Daly's got a bit of space, chips ahead. Liam Williams there. Liam Williams decides to run himself. It's a big hit from Daly. I think Williams thought it was a bit high, but Amish Kelly quite happy with that. Liam Williams just sitting down there. I think he's a bit winded after that hit. It was a big hit from Daly. Now Tane Basham. Trying to create a much better angle there for Thomas Williams. Williams does go himself. Needs to find touch. Won't find touch. Freddie Stewart underneath it. Drifts on the inside. Riffle gets up there and makes a half tackle. Christ Chins eventually completes it. Ben Youngs fires out to Owenfeld. Owenfeld going short. Strong carry there coming from... here's Joe Marchant. No, it looks like Ennis Genge is on the park. Yeah, Ennis Genge there. And, Ennis Genge come away with it. Ennis Genge with a bit of space. Runs into Dan Bigger, who makes a brave tackle. He's not happy with the tackle from Dan Bigger. And Amish Kelly's going to go back for the knock on. It will be a Wales scrum. As I said, I think brave is the right word when it came to Dan Bigger having to look up and see Ennis Genge rewarding towards him. 8 handling errors from England, 6 from Wales. 14 in total. Not a great stat, it must be said. At this stage, not too much to write home about. I mean, you do feel that England are probably the team on top at the moment, but not by much. And Wales just kind of hanging in there, but also just can't keep the ball at all. When they do get the opportunities, just silly mistakes like not finding touch. When you do finding touch, giving the ball away, from the line out, losing your line out. If you can't dominate your set piece and keep your set piece, then that's such a momentum killer. Yeah, it's a pretty horrible stat, isn't that? If they don't score a try, there'll be 4 matches. Well, in 4 matches, they would have only scored 2 tries. Let's try every second match. Not a great stat, is it? To a certain degree, the Welsh defence has had to stand up tall, but a couple just far too many mistakes here from both sides. And it's also both sides don't want to score. Both of them are afraid of scoring. Right, and here comes a lot of experience in the form of Dan Cole. Yeah, test and sharing there, Dan Cole. Yep, interesting point there. So they say now that this is the most experienced England 23 ever. And a lot of that experience is currently on the park. In the likes of a Dan Cole with over 100 games, Owen Farrell over 100 games, Ben Youngs over 100 games. I mean, that's 300 games just between them. So the experience of England, and yet not showing on the scoreboard here. And if Wales were to score a try, they could go ahead, actually. It would be very against the run of play, but isn't that, that's the game of rugby, isn't it? You hang on, you need one moment, you use that moment. Big scrum coming from England, though. And Tane Basham does very well to come off the back of that. Needs a bit of support, gets the all that away. to Tommy Raffle, gets it away to Liam Williams. Williams passes it out to Rogers. Rogers bounces off Day, comes back inside. Really good work there from Wales. They're inside into... Oh, and as I say, Tame Basham has just knocked that forward dreadfully. It's like every single time we're about to get a good moment, every single time it's about to get exciting, somebody is like obliged to make a mistake, to make it, you know, to just sort of temper back our expectations here. And now George Ford will come on. Well, that's quite a lot of experience himself. Interesting to see. It depends. If he comes on for Owen Farrell, you'll lose 100 caps. We can get 100 caps. Here we go. So Henry Arundel's come off. George Ford with his 80-odd caps runs on. Owen Farrell, I'm sure, will ship to inside centre. Now he's going to outside centre. And Joe Marchand's then going to go to the wing. So an interesting an interesting 20-minute period ahead for England. And I suppose that there's one player who could really try and sort of create some attacking spark and stuff. George Ford is probably one of those players. But he's going to need some clean ball. And it's a penalty for Wales once again at the scrum. So... hang on, has he turned it on yet? Oh. Eskins has been carded here. Well, that's interesting. So Eskins has been carded. Yeah, I think he's saying that there's been a couple of penalties now for England and against him at the scrum. And he says, had enough, off you go. I mean, he's only been on for about 10 minutes, as Ellis Genge. And England back down to a man down. Right, Nick Tompkins is up. Kieran Williams is on. He'll be making his debut. So, yeah, the most experienced England side of all time. Very far from the most experienced Welsh side of all time. Now, can they get a bit of a reward from the back of this more here? Once again, struggling to get that ball out. There it is available. Williams wants to go himself. Williams goes himself. He's just short. Pick up and go there from Tane Basham. He's spiralling. He's just short as well. Bit of composure I needed from Wales. Matthias now. Good carry from him. Just short here. Lydiard has a go. Raphael on the right-hand side. He saw half a gap. It was quickly closed. Tom Rogers has got a bit of space ahead of him, but he's got to beat. Williams decides to fire it to Dan Biggar. Dan Biggar puts it in the air. Down that right-hand side. Josh Adams! Oh, he's taken out in the air. That could be a penalty try. I tell you what. Well, Williams is not messing around. He's gone over and scored it in the meantime. They're going to go upstairs, but that must surely be a try. If not a penalty try, Liam Williams decides he's going to take things into his own hands, grab the ball and try to go over. But Adams taken out in the air by Freddie Stewart. This will surely be a try one way or the other. Could also be could very well be a yellow card coming out. This is the way of Freddie Stewart. And he was so busy putting his hands up saying, you know, he's sorry and apologising that he's got a bit of a rugby game to play. And Liam Williams decided, well, he's going to be alert to the fact that there is the opportunity and try and get the ball and go over. So I'm not sure if William Williams got grounding. So it'll be a try for him if he does. But I think we're looking at a pretty strong possibility of a penalty try here. So Josh Adams goes up. And, yeah, look, I mean, for sure, definitely does take him out. There's no doubt about that. So this is a penalty try for me. And I said, what Williams does very well here is that he's got the awareness to just say, well, I'm going to try and get this ball over anyway. Yeah, see, yeah, Amish clearly wants to see the decision to see if Liam Williams actually scores it. So it's another yellow card, so I'll put that up in the meantime. 2 yellow cards to England, down to 13 men. And it's going to be a try. The question is it going to be a penalty try or is it going to be a Liam Williams try? And personally, I mean, they'll take the penalty try, won't they? Liam Williams, on the other hand, will be saying, no, I reckon I got grounding here, which I don't know if he did. Doesn't look like he does, actually. No, he doesn't have control of that. So I think his ball's been ripped there, so I think it'll be a penalty try, yeah. Yeah, penalty try, yellow card. England down 13 men. Wales actually open the scoring and take the lead. And, well, that's put a bit of spanner in the works here with 20 minutes to go. So penalty try. Wales go up to 10 points. England go down to 13 men. And this is now ominous signs all of a sudden for Steve Borthwick and his coaching staff. Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be able to really talk his way out of that one, Freddie Stewart. He got it very wrong. Was kind of running into Josh Adams anyway, but then did go for him and sort of grab his legs in the act of doing it. So don't think you're going to have too many complaints there, Freddie Stewart. But now it's a big moment for England, who are now playing with 13 men, which is not going to make their cause to try and score just their third try in 4 games any easier. And Wales are in the lead for the first time of the game. Now Williams is going to hammer that down. The big thing for Wales is they're going to... Oh, he's going to chase his own kick. That's brilliant work. John Rogers getting over right there. I mean, it's like no England player wants it. Now, quick ball, for England. Williams, his first touch to international rugby, gets up and gets another go. Really good work from him. England defense looking a bit lazy here. Oh, they've got numbers here. They want to use it. Joe Roberts making a meter or two. Wales will set up with a bit of a spring in their step. Mario Toja's lost his scrum cap. Tommy Rafal trying to get over the varnish line. Williams firing it out to Bigger. Bigger going pretty flat to Dan Lydiot. Now Dan Bigger goes to the boot. Once again, it's going to swirl around in the air. A lot of Wales chasers. Elliot Day does come away with the Tommy Rafal. He gets a good offload away to Joe Marchant. And back to George Ford. Not too many options. It does go to the boot. And a little pop-up just ahead of Liam Williams. He's going to put into that torpedo. Now Ford is going to look for a touch here. It's a very, very good touch find from Ford. A fine touch inside Wales territory. 36 meters gained there from the fly half. But all of a sudden, it's amazing how you just need a little bit of a flashpoint sometimes to sort of get the game going. And I think this has ignited something a bit there. Wales all of a sudden, obviously, as you would against a 13-man team, trying to keep the ball in hand a bit there. Kieran Williams on debut, going to look to try and impress. Jack Willis is getting ready to come on. And he will replace Vinipola. So Vinipola will make way. Bit of a average game for him. He started quite nice. He had a couple of nice carries, but then sort of faded a little bit as the game went on. So he needs to get back to his best here, but Vinipola wasn't probably as impactful as you'd like. But I mean, the England discipline at the moment will be a big worry. 3 yellow cards. 1 for Wales. So 4 yellow cards in the game. And that's a dreadful line. Once again, I mean, it's like they just don't even want to compete. I mean, there's nobody went up, and he's just thrown it over. Mario Toja pick up and go off the back of the ruck there. Courtney Laws stepping on the inside. He started to look a bit better. Ball pass back towards Jack Willis. Now Ford going to Farrell. Farrell enters the left boot there. Liam Williams is in a good position. Looking to run. Oh, steps inside. Daly does very well. Looking to get away as well. Gets the offload off the ground. Great hands there from Christ with the inside ball as well. Basham still going. I mean, it's a huge hit coming from Owen Farrell, but he's still going. That's a brilliantly worked from Wales to get outside the 22. Now close. Oh, it's really good. I'll tell you what, the handling, the confidence all of a sudden in Wales. Where's this been all match? Now Bigger throws it out to Adams. Kieran Williams wants to draw a pass. Inside ball though. Jeepers, look at the pace from Perry. Look at the pace from Perry. He's eventually brought down by George Ford. Quick ball now from Williams. And knock on. Knock on, knock on, knock on. That's a huge let-off for England. Look at the pace, though, from Parry. That's absolutely brilliant. From a hooker there, just put his head down and say, right, I'm off. I mean, they were right up on they were literally on the try line. Liam Williams steps aside. Daly says, thank you very much. Bang gets away from Marchand. Some brilliant handling from Christ Schunzer. Bang, inside ball there. Tame Basham. Bang, steps aside of Dan Cole. Leaves him behind. Eventually gets hit by Owen Farrell. Nice little inside ball here from Williams. And then Sam Parry just puts the cracks on the pace. Not too shabby for a 31-year-old hooker. George Ford has to reel him in. And then losing the ball as he went down to ground. Yeah, it's a good call from the referee. It was the right call. TMO call. This could be the tackle by Farrell, you know. No, Brian. Actually, the only thing I can be thinking about is the potential tackle here on Basham by Owen Farrell. Hey, it's an Owen Farrell special. It's an Owen Farrell special. Oh dear, oh dear. Once again, he always gets in trouble about that arm. Are they going to take action here? South African fans have been waiting for something like this. He gets himself into an awkward positions with the tackle technique of his. It's all boiled over here. Added Walter seems to be in the middle of it. So it's all boiled over. I'm not quite sure how that's all started. I mean, in the middle of a TMO review, all of a sudden all the players are getting involved. Not a particularly good look. Right, once again, now we can get back to the actual TMO review here. This could be a third yellow card, by the way. A third yellow card if Owen Farrell goes down. And, I mean, Steve Borthwick will be sitting there going, chaps, I can write as many different plays, options, game plans as possible. If you guys go down 12 men, what am I supposed to do here? And it looks like Farrell is going to go to the bin. Yellow number 3. I can only do 3. I mean, actually impressed I can do yellow number 3. But look at this. Once again, Owen Farrell's tackle technique. No, yeah, tucked in arm then. Doesn't come around to wrap. Hammers it into Tame Basham. He's lucky it wasn't higher. It could have been a red card. And he is, yeah, Dan Bigger going and having a word with him. I love that. Come on, Dan, get involved. Right, well, 3 yellow cards. That is absolutely mental. 3 yellow cards. And potential red card is being reviewed, by the way. That's how it works. It'll go out now, and I'll look at the potential red card. Come on, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. That is absolutely mental. What we are looking at over there are the 3 England players who have all been sin-binned. And the yellow card by Owen Farrell is under review, so that could very well be upgraded to a red. Well, no love lost between Dan Bigger and Owen Farrell, 2 former British and Irish Lions teammates. Not so long ago either. But you can see Dan Bigger taking exception with that hit. And they surely have not lost, they haven't lost another landmark. That is absolutely ridiculous. Man, you're playing against 12 men. All you do is keep the damn ball. But all of a sudden, they're going to be in space as they would imagine. Inside ball to Williams. And this is where the floodgates could open. He's got so many options. He's going to go all the way. And there it is. This could be the start of the floodgates against a 12-man England side. Wales have scored their second. This time from going deep inside their own half. But the gap's going to be there. And all they've got to do really is take them now, isn't it? And that's the problem. Bang. Too easy. And there's always going to be an overlap. Roberts comes, I mean, very good to come back towards the support. He had so many options there, did Williams. Well, this has been an absolute disaster for England. Let's go to some of the comments here and see what everybody's got to say. Smiling Joe Jenkins saying, "Come on, Wales, go for the jugular. Surely tries must follow." Magic saying, "Damn, guess I should have gone with Wales by at least 10. Easy Ollie saying, "Please leave the Lambs alone after the victory, please." Wilder Moran saying, "This is the English A team, old but experienced. This is not a good side." And Sugat saying, "England are a bit crap at rugby. Really, when you look at the size of the place, you'll tell you what." Panic stations now, really. I mean, yeah, cool. You can go and say this is a one-off game, but 12 players in the field right now. 3 yellow cards. I don't think Owen Farrell's coming back on. I think that's definitely going to be upgraded to a red. I don't see how. I mean, they did say it's direct head contact, so I don't see how he gets away from it. But where do you go from here? You know, 4 yellow cards in the game. If Wales can get their hands on the ball for an extended period of time, once again, I mean, the last thing I would be doing now, as far as Kieran Williams, I mean, he's going to just take it in. But if I was Wales, I'd be looking to run and share immediately. Because as soon as this goes out, I reckon they get at least one player back. Oh, they got a penalty of England. Well, that's a big moment. That is a big moment in terms of that should be able to get at least one player back onto the park, and at least it'll be 13 men, not 12. It'll be a hell of a comeback if they could do it. Courtney Laws, Courtney Laws, Courtney Laws. What a player. What a player. He's so important to England. Right, 12-man England. Courtney Laws goes up and comes down. They are missing a loose head, a fullback, and an outside centre who is also the captain. And this is actually looking half decent. Penalty advantage here. I mean, England have gone down to 12 men and are literally on the verge of scoring. They do score. Oh, if I was Warren Gatland, I'd be doing my nut. How does a 12-man England, I suppose they've all got pretty much an entire pack, but they've hit back and the game is not over yet. Whereas Mario Toje, who's the try scorer eventually, had quite a quiet year so far as Mario Toje. Not been in the same form that we saw him a couple of years ago. Now, I tell you what, under pressure, down to 12 men, and all of a sudden you decide, you know what, we're going to win a penalty, we're going to go to the corner, we're actually going to score a more try. It's a big moment in the game. And George Ford, his first kick of the game. This to make it a 1-point game. Should be pretty straightforward for him. And it is. Just goes towards the right hand side there. Right. All of a sudden, 1-point game. England 16, Wales 17. Still 12 men for England. And yeah, red card by the way for Owen Farrell. So he has to go down the park. So I'm going to remove 2. I'm going to add up a red. And I think there's still a yellow. That's big, by the way. That's a straight red. That's Farrell. That means that Farrell's going to be cited, and at this stage could very well be missing the first game of the World Cup, at least. I think I can actually put. Yeah, there we go. Nice little red and yellow there. I mean, it's like a little color palette at the moment. That is absolutely disastrous for England, though, to have lost Owen Farrell. Red, straight red. And I tell you what, he wasn't playing badly either. Penalty for England, though, as they hold on. The 13 men. Freddie Stewart is back on the park, and I think Ellis Genge went off before him, so it should be down to 14, I think. So I think it's back to 4. Yeah, so it is down to 14. Just the red card to Owen Farrell now.
Now has 8 minutes.
Right, well, England's still in this, but Owen Farrell out for a couple of games at least is a huge, huge loss. But England actually on the front foot of all teams. They're not letting the adversity get to them as they're on the front foot from the more. This time Wales eventually managed to stop it, and they do use it. They go to Ben Earl. He's been pretty good so far. It's taken a while to 10 minutes to go here. And now England have been penalised, so we Wales ball. What, 10 minutes? I mean, it's been a pretty, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's been pretty boring, to be honest, up until about the 60-minute mark. And since then, it's just been absolute chaos. Yeah, here comes Gareth Davies. Meanwhile, France and Scotland are busy doing the toss, and they're all arriving. That's going to be the next game up here. It should be a lot of fun to watch that. And they went short there, and they've knocked the free kick actually for England. Wales, the lineout has been atrocious. In fact, it's almost embarrassing. In fact, it is embarrassing. Not almost embarrassing, it is embarrassing how bad that Welsh lineup has been. I mean, how do you spend the entire week practicing lineouts and this is what you then? I mean, the success rate must be about 20%. It is absolutely ludicrous. And Williams been on a test there, and it's gone down. It's gone forward. It has gone forward. It will be a scrum. So can England do it? Can England do it? I mean, it'll be the biggest bottle job really from Wales to be what 17-9 up with 12 with playing against 12 and playing against a man down for pretty much almost the entire game really in the end of it. Right, big scrum this. Huge scrum this. Right, now on the left-hand side there, just goes Earl. He's been very good today. England on the front foot. Mario told you this time. Now Young's going on the right-hand side. Desperate defenses for Wales. They've got a one-man advantage, England, but literally ever since they got their yellow cards, they've actually got a lot better. Now George Ford goes short. Off the eventually finds a way to Daly. Throws it out towards Ellis Genge. Cuts inside. It's a dangerous place for Ellis Genge to have some opportunity. Now Youngs to Ford. Ford goes to the... And there's a lot of space out wide. Oh my, has he done it? Oh, I tell you, he's not celebrating. They might have to have a look at this. I'm not convinced he's got this. I'm not convinced he's got this at all. Knock on. Knock on. That's a huge moment in the game. It's a pin perfect cross kick. On the dive, just couldn't take it. You can see why he's not celebrating. It would have been absolutely phenomenal if he had done it. But just couldn't control it. England team thought he had it. That's a big moment. That's a huge moment. Yellow card to Adam Beard. I tell you, there's just cards being dished out for fun now. This is one of the weirdest games I've ever watched. That must be. I'm literally gonna have to go and count. How many yellow cards are we at? Potential red. I think it's potentially on the sounds of it. Right, that's 2 for Wales. 3, 4, 5. So 3 from England, 2 for Wales. It's 5 yellow cards plus a red card. So 6 cards. So out of the 46 players who played today, 6 of them have been carded.
You'd expect George Ford to signal for the posts.
They've called for the shot. So this is with the lead, by the way, for Wales. And for England. What an absolutely bizarre game. How have Wales done this? Look, I mean, I suppose you got to admire a certain amount of resolve from England to be dealing with the adversity here. But how have Wales buckled this? And Ford does add the extra. So with 5 minutes to go, England retake the lead. It is 14 on 14. It will be 14 on 14 for the last 5 minutes. Who's going to take it? Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Right, so England 19, Wales 17. Who is going to come off the second best chip? And they've knocked it on you again of Wales. Oh, jeepers me. The mistakes. I mean, look, the line's been absolutely shocking. You cannot have a line out that bad. You can't make the kind of handling errors they have made. It's been really, really poor from that respect. Lots and lots of questions here for Wales with regards to the handling errors that we have seen. Really, really poor. Have England burgled this? I mean, it literally would be a burgle. It will be a bottle drop from Wales. But a serious burglary from England. Huge scrum there from England, as you can imagine. They've got the numerical advantage. And the penalty. And they'll have plenty of time to wind the clock down here. Yeah, they're going to take their time here. Yeah, Wales absolutely run away in that scrum. But the big thing for England, I suppose, at the moment, and it is a very big thing, is no Owen Farrell for what could be for a while. So what do they do? What do they do? I mean, all of a sudden, I think George Ford needs a game or two at fly half in the next couple of games. Do they rely on Owen Farrell for the World Cup? Being all at the back. Right, Wales have to do something here. They have to do something if they're going to win this. Jack Willis now. They're just trying to run down the clock here, really, are England. Ford, it's brilliant from him. That is so good from him. Just dabbing it over the top there. And that's the big thing. Territory there. That's absolute class from George Ford. Just dabbing over the top, playing it into the corner. Running down the time. Wales will have the line, yes, but they've got less than a minute now to go end to end. So that's absolutely brilliant from him. And it's been fumbled, but Parry's come away with it. So Wales still do have it. But they've got 20 seconds to try and go end to end, coast to coast, as they say. Bigger, going to Williams. Liam Williams popping up for Gareth Davies, wrapping around. Really good work from him, trying to get away from Jamie George. Very good work, actually, is from Gareth Davies. Ball available, but a bit of pressure from Liam Williams. You got to Reece Davies back on the park. And now caught in the ball here. Turnover ball here from England. They just need to get this out and they'll won it. And knock on. And that is it. Oh my goodness me. Well, 3 cards, a red card, down to 12 men, and England have beaten Wales. Ridiculous scenes from Twickenham. Absolutely ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, if you're watching this now, I actually don't even know how to describe it. One of the weirdest games. England come away winners. Wales will be wondering how they didn't win that. But Owen Farrell's World Cup very much in doubt, which is probably the big headline from the game. So, yeah, what do we think about that? I mean, jeepers me, I'm struggling to sort of really come to terms with exactly what I've just watched. It's a hell of a game. Well, people, anyway, for me, it's a massive just cock up from Wales, to be being brutally honest. And Grant Gatlin is going to have a bit of a shit fit. Generally, though, yeah, just 2 really poor performances from 2 pretty ordinary teams. And going into the World Cup, I don't think too many people are going to be watching that, fearing the other too much. Anyway, people, thank you very much for joining me. We'll be live again in about half an hour. In fact, just less than half an hour with Scotland versus France. You don't have to do anything. The stream's going to end and it's going to take you straight there. So we'll see you guys over there in a little bit. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well.